Hi, my name is Bishop Gregory Lightner, and this is Pastor Karen Lightner, and we are the hosts of Is Love Enough? And I'm very excited about today's topic.
It's ageless love, Bishop. It's never too late.
It's ageless love. It's never too late. Yes, and I think this is going to inspire a lot of our guests, a lot of our viewers to realize that no matter how long you've been waiting, it's never too late. But before we get into the show, we want to talk a little bit about WYTV7.
WYTV7.org is a nonprofit television station that sponsors shows like ours that help educate, empower, and encourage our communities. Please consider donating by going to WYTV.org and click the red button and donate now.
Yes, now, well, let's get into our show. Dr. Jameson and Mrs. Brody, will you introduce yourselves?
My name is Robert Jameson. I'm a healthcare provider here in Southern California. And I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. Been in California for going on 11 years now. And that's where I met my beautiful queen here a few years ago, but we get to that in just a second. But I've been in healthcare for 33 and a half years, not even counting the fellowship and the residency. I'm just speaking as the clinical roles in the hospitals and clinics. And honored to be here today.
Glad to have you.
My name is V. Brody. I've been in California for over 32 years. I'm originally from Evansville, Indiana, and I as well am in the healthcare field.
Wow. Before we start talking about Endless Love, I want to say this as well. You guys are going to be and are such an inspiration to so many people watching, so many young people watching, especially in our community that think you can't be a doctor, you can't succeed. And then the story that we're going to talk about today, Endless Love, is such an empowering story. And I'm so glad to have you guys on to empower our listeners and our viewers.
Yes.
We're glad to be here.
Okay, always our big question of the day, is love enough?
Absolutely, for me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, can you tell us, what was it about your past marriage or long-term relationship that didn't work? And what knowledge did you gain from it?
Well, I can speak for myself, and she have her own story on, why we so connected, in other words. My last marriage, I was married for 28 years, right? And I got married young. And of course, a handsome young man, living above poverty, working extremely hard, and I was a family man. Nothing to be proud of, but infidelity was my biggest problem. I just couldn't be loyal or faithful to my ex-wife. And it wasn't that she wasn't a good wife. It was just that, in my opinion, I was selfish. After looking back over the years and some of the things that I did. And honestly, in my opinion, most people that does some of the things that I did back in my youth age, young adult years, and when your spouse filed for a divorce, first thing we try to do is point the finger.
That's right.
In spite of manning up and holding yourself accountable for your own actions. It took for me to go through some challenges for me to get to that point. And I mean, when I say challenges, it took God to really touch my heart, number one, and realize a family man shouldn't be doing what I was doing, number two. And number three, karma. Knowing that what goes around, what comes around goes around. You know what I mean? And I knew somewhere, sometime, it was going to come back to bite me. It didn't take for me to have an accident or any kind of tragedy for me to basically realize that I need to get myself together in order for me to be a productive family man and regain trust in the relationship. But the dagger part of my story is that when I did come out the streets, I had burnt my bridges, meaning that the trust was gone, The love was still there,
Mhm.
but the trust and the communication had just been tarnished.
Mhm.
Meaning that in spite of whatever I said or tried to do, because of trust factors, there wasn't a
Mhm.
communication of trust. So I can be honest today about anything that I had done in the past. And because I was cruel, in other words, just so selfish.
Uh-huh.
She didn't trust me anymore. So I gave myself another 10 years in a relationship to basically say, hey, I'm going to make this work. We got these small children together, and we need to stay connected as a family so these kids can grow up in a family home, in spite of the trust, the love factors, and the disloyalty. You know what I mean? And I
Mhm.
presented all that. And when the table turned, I manned up to it. I realized that I broke the family. I broke the rules of the marriage. And it was time for me to be a man and either set her free and let her, go on about her business, and me try to gather my thoughts and get myself together so I can be another productive citizen here, in this world. So when God took my mother from me, I was going through the divorce. Then on top of that, I was going through other challenges, and I knew that I couldn't change myself change myself. So I just went to God in prayer, and I asked God to fix me because I was weak and I was torn, and I didn't know how to build myself back up. And in 2000 and January 2012, December 31st, 2012, bringing in the new year for 2013, I prayed to God for almost 2 hours, just stayed on my knees. In my humbling voice, God heard my prayer. And when I felt the connection in the spirit with him, when he told me, he said, don't fight it no more, give it all back. Because I blessed you once, I'll bless you again, but this time I'll bless you 100-fold. Because at that time I was out of the streets. I was a dedicated family man. I didn't have any drug habits. I didn't have any drinking habits. I was a workaholic. So I had a lot of work habits, you know what I mean? And so I moved to California in 2012. In 2013, I opened my first practice in January. And from there, it was nonstop. So
Wow.
I could go all day, but I'm going to cut it off right here.
Yes, we gotta get soon to be
Miss Brody.
Miss Brody.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
The same question. We did get it.
Can you tell us what was it about your past marriage or long-term relationship that didn't work, and what knowledge did you gain from it?
Well, actually, my first marriage, I got married at 19, but my past husband, he actually is deceased. He had died.
Okay.
At this point in your lives, was there ever a time you've had reservation about finding love or even wanting to marry?
Go ahead.
Yes, actually, I did not want to get married ever again. But God had other plans for me.
Well, God had other plans for her, but let me tell you, I said I wasn't going to never, ever, 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 ever get married again.
So what changed your mind? What about your soon-to-be spouse changed your mind and made you say, okay, I might be willing to give this a chance again?
It's because she met, well, all my expectations. Number one, she's loyal. She's very faithful. She's loving, and she's very caring. And the connection is because we are both in the same industry. You know what I mean? We workaholics. We have so much in common. And when I met her, I pretty much, didn't go hard at that time. I let it play out for itself. But I said to myself, if she can deal with me for at least 3 years, she's worthy to be married. But at the same time, we both told each other that if it works out and we connect, we will be married. We will, we spend the rest of our lives together.
Wow. So you guys had some some talks and some expectations about relationships before you went in?
Well, she'll tell you how we met, and then I can feed back off her energy because it's going to be exploding.
All right, tell us how you guys met.
Okay. Robert was actually directing a movie down in Memphis, Tennessee. So he got on Facebook and he made a comment that he needed more actors and actresses. So I inboxed him and I let him know that I have a cousin that's in the industry. And at that time she was an actress on God Friended Me and The Family Business, Always a Bridesmaid. So he asked for my telephone number so that we could talk about my cousin being in his movie. So he called and we never stopped talking from this day.
Wow.
That was exciting for me because I didn't know it was going to go this far. I really didn't. At that time, I wasn't looking for nobody. She wasn't looking for
And
anyone.
I wasn't looking for anyone.
And it's amazing that conversation kept us on the phone. For me, it was wee hours of the morning. For her, it was like early, late night.
Yeah, we know about those calls.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because in our situation, I wasn't even looking to be married at all. Just got a relationship and talking about getting married. That was definitely not in the cards for me.
Yeah.
Okay, you both had demanding careers, of course, Dr. Jameson, you being one, and Ms. Brody, you being Director of Social Service. Share with our audience how you were able to sacrifice time and make one another a priority despite your career commitments.
Well, number one, I come from the hood, the streets, the projects. And I wasn't let me say this, in my environment, I was able to distinguish success. It's because I come from a domestic violence family with a single mother. My mom raised us a single family. And I started work at the age of 14. And I literally had a summer job picking up paper in the park. And I used to get paid and give my mom my entire check because she needed to keep food on the table. Now, what kid at 14 would make those type of sacrifices, knowing that you got money in your pocket, but your mom is struggling to pay bills and you give her your entire check. And you let her give her what she wanted you to have to dress and clothe you. And from that point forward, at age of 15, I started working in the restaurant business, shucking oysters at Captain Bilbo's in Memphis, Tennessee. And I got promoted from shucking oysters to become a cook and a supervisor in the patio kitchen. I did that for like another couple of years. And after I graduated from high school, I opened up my first business called Jameson and Associates, which was a upholstery company. Now, I never went to school for none of these past jobs that I had because they were jobs, they wasn't career settings. But I started my company at the age of 19 after graduating. I held that position as the owner of my company because I started working for another man that gave me opportunity to stuff pillows. But I had a habit of tearing up stuff and putting it back together. So, I'm like hands-on training for me. So I watched all the other upholstery tear up furniture and I was stripping the furniture down, learning how to put it back together. So that third year, I went to him and asked him, I said, could I rent this space in the back? I was 22 years old at that time. This is before I even started medical school or anything like that. I was, going to college for a business associate degree in business and administration. So I graduated and obtained that business and administration degree, and I opened up my first company, Jameson and Associates. I had the company for like another 3-4 years while I was going to school. I got my first job in the hospital based on me doing upholstery and getting contract with the hospital, which geared me toward to get into the medical industry. So I started out as a patient escort. It's way back in the early 80s. And the hospital that I worked at, Baptist Memorial Hospital, they had a 2-issue reimbursement program where you can, after your first 90 days, you can get promoted to a clinical position. And I actually got promoted in 2 months and went to the recovery room as a PACU technician. And that was my road to getting into that clinical area. So I enrolled into the University of Tennessee medical program and became a first assistant in surgery. And from that point forward, I went into the physician assistant program after 10 years doing that. And all of my fellowship doctors, when I went to the next level to obtain my PhD, I was already in the industry. Had 15 years experience then. And keep in mind, you had to be in school for another 8 years to become a doctor. So I did a 4-year as a physician assistant, and that turned out to be like another 10 years. In 2006, I had like about 22 years experience. So the hospital gave me opportunity to do my internship as a PhD doctor in health science because I worked in pathology. So I had the export, the technician in recovery room, the surgery assistant. Then I did a study for anesthesia technician, all within those 20 years.
Right.
So my clinical aspect of my resume, really gave me opportunity to just fast track in the next 2 years and study in health science for my PhD. It's a long story, but I'm gonna stop right there.
Yes, yes. Well, we have to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this break.
Calling all HBCU alumni, supporters, and golfers. It's that time of year again. Yes, the HBCU Swing Into Their Dreams charity golf tournament on Tuesday, April 5th. If you missed the last one, you have time once again to be epic. Don't miss the golf tournament of the year. The Swing Into Their Dreams HBCU charity golf tournament at the Atlanta National Golf Club in Milton, Georgia, Tuesday, April the 5th. Registration begins now. Sign up your golf teams at swingintotheirdreams.com. That's swingintotheirdreams.com or call 770-686-7148. That's 770-686-7148. Don't miss it.
Welcome back to Is Love Enough. I'm Bishop Gregory Lightner. And we are the hosts of Is Love Enough, and we are talking with the soon-to-be Jamesons, Dr. Jameson and Mrs. Brody.
You remember?
Yes, I got the names right.
Okay, Ms. Brody, I got a question for you. Being the director of social service, share with our audience how you were able to sacrifice time and make one another a priority despite your career commitment.
Due to both of us being in the medical field, we both understand the hours and the dedication of work. And then we both are also in the entertainment business. So we're able to do our shows together and, we just make that time.
Wow. Now let's talk about this. Let me ask you a question. When did you guys know that the spark was there and a proposal was coming?
Actually, we once we started talking on the phone, we became friends first because he wasn't looking for anyone and I definitely wasn't looking for anyone. So the friendship actually started first.
Yeah, we was friends for a few months before we even touched one another. Like literally, like
even thought about
a
getting in a relationship with each other.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that was powerful for me because, as being a man back in my past, I usually would jump in a relationship and ready to get started, with the sexual intercourse and everything, within a couple of weeks. But then at the same time, she deserved the man, and I didn't want to be the one to hurt her, right? So I wanted to make certain that this is exactly what I wanted to do, and she was the woman that I wanted to be with, because I wasn't going to go outside the relationship.
Wow, that's good. That's good. That's good. So, Doc, when you knew that she was the one, how did you prepare for that proposal?
The urge was there, but once again, I would burn pretty bad, and it's because of my selfishness. And I guess, you know, my ex-wife, she came back at me really hard in the divorce element. And I was really adamant, you know, about even getting that close to even speaking about marriage. But she wanted to be married to me. I felt the chemistry, right?
Yeah.
That Vegas going up and down those strips, you know, and those
Oh my
chapters
God.
up there, you know what I mean? So we paired by one, she looked at me and keep on driving, she'll keep on driving. But long story short, I knew she was the one, like literally, because I was focused on what God told me. He was gonna bless me 100-fold, and she was gonna be part of that blessing.
Yes. And Mrs. Brody,
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Brody.
Oh, you remember.
Yes, I'm very there. Mrs.
Hey, let me
Brody,
say this to you. Let me say this right quick.
I pronounced every name wrong, you know, but
Yes.
yes, sir.
I want to say when I proposed, on my birthday last year, June the 15th. On my birthday. Yeah.
On your birthday.
On my birthday.
On his birthday.
Yeah, June the 15th.
So that
I said we're gonna get married next year.
Oh wow! So you always remember when the proposal was.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Mr. Brody, did you know a proposal was coming? Were you prepared for a proposal?
We had talked about it, so I did, but I didn't know he was gonna do it on his birthday.
Okay, what role has your faith played in the relationship of the future Mr. and Mrs. Jameson, and what impact will it have on your wedding vows?
I didn't hear the question.
What role has your faith played in the relationship of the future Mr. and Mrs. Jameson, and what impact will it have on your wedding vows?
Well, we are both God-fearing people. We love the Lord first and foremost. And I felt that if, you know, a praying family gonna stick together, we're gonna always be together long we pray together, right?
Have
And
to always keep
we
God
keep
first.
God first in everything that we do. We don't give ourselves credit. We give all the praises and the glory to God.
Yes, yes, yes. That's very good.
Yes.
Same thing we do. We put God first in everything we do, every opportunity, every move we make. We always put God first, and every decision we want to know from God, is this the right thing to do? And when you do that, things will work out for the good.
You have to consult God in everything you do, because we can't go on our own knowledge or what we know, because you know we'll make a shipwreck of stuff. So
Yes,
by putting God first, everything else will fall in line.
yes.
With age brings the maturity of intimacy and understanding your mate's love language. Would you say you've mastered this, or is it a work in progress?
I think it's
I
mastered.
think we mastered it.
Yeah. I mean, we are so much connected on the same page, you know, and I mean, and I know if we fall, we're gonna fall together, right? So and it won't be like domino with one fall behind another. We're gonna fall together. So I think
That's amazing to hear. Usually the guy or the husband or the fiance would say, we mastered it. And the lady will be like,
oh no. You know, God delivered me to her. In other words, she didn't have to find me, I found her. I kept my hand in God's hand and he led me her way. I prayed for this woman.
That's good.
That's good. That's good. Again, you guys are really going to help a lot of people today. That statement alone is going to help a lot of people and free a lot of people.
Yes. Everyone walks into a marriage with expectations, considering financial planning, retirement, and unexpected illnesses. How important is it, and do you already have a plan?
We have a plan. We're gonna build our wealth together through God's blessings. And you know, we are both inspiring individuals. You know, we are happy, hunky-dory. You know, I can say for sure we haven't had any bad times in our relationship. And it's because we both believe in God and we let God shake and move for us. And we're in the same industries. You know, we're in the entertainment industry together, we're in healthcare together. And of course, we're seeking to retire together and grow old together. And with that being said, I'm gonna let her finish it out because I go all night. Put on the spot.
Don't do that.
But she's very shy. So but like I said, we're connected, we well connected. You know, she want me and I wanted her, you know, and I think with God's grace and mercy, we'll grow old together.
This is something I always say. I say a lot to couples that being best friends with each other makes your relationship better. Would you guys agree or disagree?
Totally agree.
Agree. Yeah. I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with anyone that I didn't trust, bottom line, you know.
You have to be friends
We
first.
have to be friends first. And I say we were friends first because we talked on the phone for like about 3 months because the CD release party was like in January. We met in November. So we talked on the phone 2 months before we even saw each other physically in contact. Yeah.
And you have to like each other. You have to like each other.
Yes, definitely do.
Well, she's attractive. She's very attractive. So yeah, I did my due diligence.
But you have to like the person.
You have to like that person, right?
Yeah.
Right. And you do have to like them and having that friendship and going through that part of relationship and then falling in love. I think it just enhances what you have, you know. It keeps it there. I tell people a lot of times you're more apt to forgive your friend than you are your spouse. So if your friend is your spouse, you have the best.
That's true.
But then also when you get married, you have to continue dating. You don't stop dating when you get married. You have to continue dating. You have to continue doing things together.
Continue being friends.
And continue being friends. You know, if you can capture all those dots and connect those dots together, it's going to be a life-ending situation, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Just like with us, we still have our date night.
Yes.
Oh, but I'll be looking for
it. It's very important.
It really is.
Yes.
So just the time with just me and him, instead of having, the kids, the grands, everybody around, I can focus all my attention on you.
Yes.
And give you my love and all of me.
Yes.
So
and
date night. Oh my
God. That. I like all the attention. Yeah. I like it. And we have a bunch. Our family is quite, I would say, large.
Oh yes.
A lot of times we don't have that alone time. So on Saturdays, away from the church, away from everybody else, away from all of the pressures that pull us every different way, is our time. Just for me and her, and everybody else takes the second seat, back away. Mommy is mine today. Well, before we wrap up, okay. Before we begin to wrap up, Dr. Jameson, I will ask you to give a piece of advice to men who have been hurt and are not looking for marriage, but want love in their lives.
Well, I would like to say, if you go through any situation and it causes you to go through a storm, and how you defeat that, don't stop in the middle of the storm because of your past marriage. Go through the storm, because at the end of the tunnel, there's light. And if you believe in the Lord is going to rekindle all of your doubts. And he's going to connect you with the very most important person in your life. It can be your future wife, your girlfriend, or your friend. And it can be something that can really, connect with one another and be inspiring in the relationship to cause you to get married, to lead you down that marriage road. That would happen to me because, like I said, I was selfish in my youth days. But when I did so much, my dirt, and when the table turned, be a man and man up to all your own behaviors, and stop faulting people. That's how you can get through that storm, when you stop faulting people, when you look into that mirror and you can point to yourself and man up to your own actions, then he will fill the gap in. That's my advice to any man that been through situations where they had infidelity in their life and they're trying to correct their life. God he will lead you to that queen. If he did it for me, he'll do it for you.
I'm listening to your story. Would you say your faith played a big role in pulling you out of where you were into the new man that you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. Faith. And I wasn't raised up in the church, so I can't say that it was back to my childhood. It was some things that I went through. Because keep in mind, for me to change my actions and my behavior, I didn't have any tragedy in the family. God looked way beyond my faults, but he still blessed me with my needs. He didn't take any of my kids from me. My family was healthy all throughout the whole ordeal. It was time for me to go to do some things that was going to be productive and show him that I appreciate the love that he was giving back to me.
Let me ask you one more question before we move to the next one. So how did you learn or reevaluate how to love a woman?
With all the past mistakes that I've done,
Because I'm lovable.
she's lovable. No, she's lovable. She's lovable, like she said. She's lovable. And it was because of my past. I said I would never hurt another woman like I hurt the others, right? So she's lovable, and I owe all the respect to her because she deserves someone good like me. She don't deserve anybody else. She's lovable.
Okay, being a mature couple, has blended family mattered as much in your decision to marry? Why or why not?
Go ahead.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Being a mature couple, has blended family mattered as much in your decision to marry? Why or why not?
Blended family. But my kids are actually grown. Robert's kids are grown. And to be honest, I just think we would be like a good Brady bunch.
So you guys didn't have to factor in the relationship with the kids because they're all grown. So it wasn't a factor into the relationship.
Right.
Right.
And they grown. When I say grown, they're real grown. like literally. We ain't talking about 18, 19, 20. We're talking about real grown.
Can you guys, because we're talking about this topic, we haven't asked you guys to do this yet. If you want to, you can. And if you don't, you can just say, I'm around this. Will you guys share your age with the listening audience or around your age? Because we're talking about Ageless Love and you guys look.
You're talking about Ageless Love.
Ageless Love.
There you go.
You guys look 30. I mean, y'all look younger than we do.
I can reveal my age, but if she want to go first, I'll let her go first.
I'll be 59 next week.
Wow.
And I'll be 61 this June. June 15th, 61.
We want to be like y'all.
Yeah, we want to be like y'all. I want some of that water y'all drinking. I got over there, California. But put some in the box and send it to South Carolina.
Y'all look great. Amazing.
Thank you.
What advice and what would you say to a lady that's looking for love and she feels like her time has passed?
I would tell her, don't look. Let it come to her. The man actually is supposed to be the hunter, not the woman.
Amen.
You said that.
That's a mouthful.
And that's what I think a lot of them go wrong. They out there looking.
That's how it goes wrong because they're out looking instead of allowing the man to look for them. You let the man be the hunter.
That's right. And see, God put me in a position to find her based on me directing the film. And I knew she was the one because he led me to her. She didn't come to me.
Wow. Man who finds a good, he found a good one.
Man who finds a wife finds
a good thing.
Favor
with the Lord.
That's right. And I think if a lot of people follow that format, it would work.
It would work.
Yeah, because we as women, it's not our job. I got to go find me a husband. I got to go find. No, that's not.
It's not our job. That is not our job.
And that was my problem. They was always looking for somebody like me back in the day when I was hitting those clubs and running the streets. You know what I mean? I didn't really have to.
Right.
She made a good point.
Yeah, a great point. And again, that piece of advice, I really believe, is going to help. The whole show, I believe, is going to help so many people who are listening. I think it's going to inspire a lot of people who are listening, inspire a lot of people to know that love is possible and it's real. This is something I keep telling people, because a lot of people hear our story, they look at our family and go, that can't be real on the outside. But love really is real. It's work, but it's real.
And we definitely had to work on it. It's not like, okay, we woke up one day, bam, that was it. We had to do a lot of learning from a lot of mistakes to get where we are. Because we married 27 years.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, and so by me learning him learning me is what it got. Of course, I'm putting God first. Is where we are today. Yeah.
And communication actually is a key factor.
Yes.
Right. It is. Communication.
Yeah.
Communication is a key factor. And it doesn't hurt that the girl is pretty. That's hurt.
So you handsome, so I mean, hey. You so cute.
Listen, I hope we have a little bit more time. Do we have time? So she messing up and wrapping up today. Give our listening audience one more piece of advice about finding love and making and knowing that this is the person for you.
Now, my advice as far as like the younger generation that has children and you're bringing children in with the relationship, you have to actually make sure that your partner that you're going to be with accepts your children. Whether it's the man or the woman, you make sure that they're going to accept your children. Because if they don't, then you do not need that person.
That's right.
Not the person for you.
That's right. Doc.
Well, my advice, I agree with her 100% because every man is not going to treat your kids like the mom or the daddy going to treat them. And drugs is a big thing too.
That's not always true because I was a stepmom and I was an excellent stepmom.
I said not all.
Oh, okay.
I said not all. I stand corrected. I said not all. Like myself, I'm a good stepfather. I fathered my stepdaughter like until she was a full-grown adult and everything from the age of 2. So not all, but you have to be definitely careful about the relationship. And you have some bad women too now. You know, it ain't all about the men, but you have to be careful. That's the bottom line. She hit the nail right on the head.
Yes, you do. And you're right. You have bad men and you have bad women.
Bad women.
Yeah.
That's right.
We want to thank Dr. Brody.
No.
Dr.
Thank you for the title.
She'll be Dr. Robert L. Jameson soon. So thank you.
We want to thank you guys for being the guest today, helping to inspire our listening audience.
Yes. Thank you all so much. Listen, if you have a unique story that you would like to share or just want to be a guest on Is Love Enough, you can email us at gtlm.isloveenough@gmail.com or just give us a call at 912-519-0178. Until we meet again.
Thank you for joining us on Is Love Enough?